If you know me or have seen some of my videos, you would know that I love crystals. I've been collecting crystals for about 4 years until I forced myself to put a hard stop on that. I stopped buying all tarot, all oracle decks, all crystals, anything related to astrology, like literally anything in that world. And in this video, I'm going to explain exactly why I did that, the hard, honest truth. By the way, my name is Courtney Violetta, and I'm on a journey to self-discovery, to really rediscover what it means to be alive and be human in this modern digital world. On this channel, I share my experiences and things I'm learning and trying so that others don't have to feel so alone on their own journeys. But I am not an expert. YouTube already has plenty of those, but I will be your companion. Here's a little bit of a background. So it's no secret that I've been trying to find myself over the past few years. It's pretty evident in all of my videos. There was a time when I was in college and I was at my absolute lowest in life. I took a meditation class at my college and I started to be more interested in reading more spiritual books, and I felt like my entire world was changing. Anyone who knew me back then will tell you I became a different person, and I felt like I was on a path of becoming the absolute best version of myself. And I think that's where the obsession began. Whether or not it was the stones or all of the circumstances combined, I noticed a huge change in my life. And coming from being at such a desperate place for help just before that, I think I wanted to collect everything that could make me feel better, feel different, feel like I was growing and finding meaning again. Fast forward a few years and I had collected probably over 100 crystals. But most of the crystals I had were in drawstring bags, in shelves, in boxes, like they weren't being used, they were collecting dust. I started working at a metaphysical shop in 2019, and this is where my perspective on literally everything changed. It was great at first. I loved helping people who were coming in there for their first time, like looking for a crystal, like telling them like, oh, just see which one draws to you, because that was really fun. And that reminded me of when I first had that epiphany, that jolt on my own path to self-discovery, So I was really excited for them to be in the same place that I was, because I know that it's such a fun place to be. But there were also people who would go in there and buy literally everything they could put their hands on. And also when you work in an environment like that, a lot of people are going to tell you like their life stories just naturally because they want help, So I would talk to people who were really, really depressed, some who were in abusive relationships. It was just a really uncomfortable place to be, because I don't ever want to be in a position where I'm like, yeah, buy this crystal, like it's gonna help you. And it was just such an uncomfortable place to be, but that's beside the point. The point is that people were hoping that you could help them solve their problems with a rock. And let me just say, I do believe in the metaphysical benefits of these items, but they are not going to solve the problem. So there would be people who would buy baskets full of crystals and tarot cards and candles and herbs that they really believed would help them. But it was like they were placing all of this hope and desire to get better and feel better on these items. I understood. When you are in that place, you want to get out so badly. I'm sure so many of you can relate. Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. But reaching that end goal of just, hitting that normal base level, getting yourself out of that dark place, that's a lot of work. And I felt like people were going to this store and buying all of this stuff in the hopes that they would feel better with a quick fix. That all of a sudden the work would be done, they would feel amazing once they lit that candle and meditated with that crystal. And it really does sometimes take the universe like shoving a mirror in your face for you to understand what you're doing yourself. Like I said, I'm not saying that these items aren't effective, because from my personal experience, I do believe that they are. But there's a bigger issue going on here. So the first reason that I stopped collecting crystals and everything metaphysical for 2 years was because I, myself, was looking for a quick fix. The second reason kind of ties in with that. I had this realization that there's a real problem with spiritual materialism. I've learned that we really don't need any object to connect us to our wise mind. At the time, I was also watching a lot of YouTubers in the metaphysical niche who would do card readings and show their crystal collections, their tarot and oracle collections, and it almost made me feel like I need all of these things to achieve what they have. I started collecting even more crystals, even more oracle decks and tarot and astrology things, and the thing was, I wasn't even using them. I was just buying them to have them. So when I realized this, I decided to set boundaries with myself. I felt constant anxiety over trying to know what was going to happen next, how I could be best prepared to handle it, or if my dreams were going to come true that month. I stopped watching pick-a-card readings on YouTube. I stopped buying crystals and tarot and oracle decks. I did all of this so that I could separate myself from this need to be the best by having the most. It's the ego. I think a lot of people are craving meaning in this world when we feel so disconnected from it. It's almost like our souls are craving some sort of nourishment, and the only way that we know how to fulfill that is by doing what we've been taught our entire life, to buy things. So I realized that there's this constant tug of war between your ego and your soul, I guess, because we're constantly wanting to learn new things and develop ourselves and grow as a person. So what we're gonna do then is we're gonna take courses, we're gonna go on retreats, we're going to gain certifications, we're gonna go shopping at metaphysical stores and read all the books we can. And I think that tug of war balance really comes down to asking yourself, am I doing this really because I'm just trying to absorb more information and learn and become a better person? Or am I trying deep down inside to just become the best? So if you hear where I'm coming from and you think that it's super fun to buy these things and to go shopping and to explore all that this, journey has to offer, and you go to metaphysical shops because you enjoy it and it's fun and you appreciate the beauty in crystals because goddamn, crystals are pretty. I really just recommend being aware of this, and if you feel so inclined, maybe just put some boundaries up. When it's your first time going into a crystal shop, don't worry about boundaries. Just go into the store, see what's called to you, but be aware that eventually a lot of things are going to call to you. And in that case, just go in with a plan. Say to yourself, like, I'm going to go in looking for a green tumbled stone, a fluorite tower, and maybe one book. Just have a plan. And over time, if you start to notice that you're accumulating a lot of things, then just take a mental note of that and ask yourself, like, what is the reason behind why I'm buying all of this stuff? Is it because you want to have more? Is it because you need to feel connected to something more intensely? Is it because you saw a YouTuber have this deck and you think that you need it as well? Whatever it is, don't judge yourself. It is what we have been taught in our society, literally to buy our problems away, to buy the fix to any of our problems. And like I said, again, don't judge yourself. I think the purpose of life is just finding that balance between your human essence, your ego, I guess, and your soul essence. It's all a balance. And recently, actually my last video, I went crystal shopping and I vlogged it. So if you want to see my entire process of how I go about setting boundaries for myself and going and still having an amazing time, like, it is not a party pooper to set boundaries. If anything, it made me way more excited to have waited so long to find that perfect something. I'm not gonna spoil it. Honestly, I'm still over the moon happy about it. So I'm gonna link that video right here so you guys can go and watch that in case you guys haven't seen it yet, because it might be really helpful to you. And that's where my story is now and where it continues. I'm here sharing my experiences, my mistakes, things I'm learning and challenging myself to do, creating new habits. And if you are on a similar journey, I definitely would love to be your companion. So hit the subscribe button if you want to join this family here on YouTube. And I'll see you guys in my next video on Tuesday. Bye.